Wow. Oh, hey. Wow. 1,000 subscribers. I don't know what to say. I really didn't think I'd get here this fast, considering I only started 6 or 7 months ago. It's been an absolutely wild ride for me on YouTube already, and I couldn't have done it without your love and support to make this dream possible. To celebrate, I want to take a moment with you guys to remember and reflect on what I'm going to say are the top 6 influential hands that I've posted on my channel within the first 20 vlogs. I specifically say influential over biggest pots, as some of them aren't my biggest pots, but I chose them because it was either that hand or that vlog that was truly influential in either how I played poker or how the channel has evolved in between vlogs. Before each hand plays, I'll give a brief reasoning for why I consider it to hold a spot in the top 6 most influential hands. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Kicking things off, I'd like to present hand 9 from vlog 4, where we laid down pocket aces in a really tight spot. This vlog was my first vlog on the longer side, and this hand showed that I wasn't afraid to make big folds in tough spots. I'm not going to claim this was my first big video, but it certainly did better than my first 3. Roll clip. Taking a stop outside the library here, a place of thinking, a place of learning. I'll tell you about a hand that I really had to think on, and probably learned from a little bit. We looked down at a dream spot went wrong. Look at pocket aces in the small blind. There's a cutoff open to $15 and we 3-bet to 55. Really trying to get some value out of this player. I've played with them before and I know that they will call a little bit larger of a 3-bet, especially since we're both kind of deep. So larger 3-bet sizes, check. So that player calls and the flop comes king, queen, deuce. Not the greatest flop for aces, but it is what it is. We're gonna continue here for a little bit smaller actually than our 3-bet. We bet 50. Trying to get him to cling to even a queen. So the cutoff does make the call for 50 to a turn, probably the worst turn. In the deck comes a jack. Now there are 2 flush draws on the board, king, queen, jack on the board, so many 2 pairs, so many straights. This board's looking really tough to play. So you know, I feel like you can check here sometimes, bet here sometimes. I decided to go with the aggressive route and I bet $100. And of course, as we feared, we get raised to $250. So not feeling super great about this spot, but don't feel like we can fold aces in this position. So we make the call for 250, really trying to evaluate on the river. And man, this is the wrong time to make a set. The river is an ace and we make a set. There's now a 4-liner to a straight. The backdoor flush draw came in and we are not feeling that great with a set here. So we check to our opponent and they make the good play. They go all in for $450. So gosh, this is one of those ones where you really just got to look at it later, think, what does their range look like? And after some deliberation of saying, oh, maybe he can have this and this, what do we really beat? We decide on the fold. We make the big top set laydown for $450. Feeling pretty good about being able to fold there as far as our future career in the game, but that was a really tough one. We get knocked down a couple notches, and but feeling pretty good from the beginning of the session. So we've got one last hand to talk about that it's kind of a funny one. Hand 2. Moving on, I give you vlog 7, hand 4, an absolutely crazy hand from a crazy session. This is arguably one of the most influential hands I've ever played and arguably my most influential vlog, but this list is presented in chronological order. We go for an absolutely crazy semi-bluff in a multi-way pot, and we river the nuts, and then that session continued to be, and is still to this day, my biggest cash win. Check it out. We've got 2 baseball fields here at All Children's Park. There's this one, which is the practice field, and then there's that one over there, which is the main field. And they've got the main field locked up right now, which makes sense. Don't want random people like me trudging around on it, messing it up. So we're on the practice field right now, but just imagine that I cracked a home run with this hand. So I'm gonna walk around the bases to tell you about it. We look down at 7-8 of diamonds in relatively early position. You know, we're feeling pretty good after the past couple hands with a relatively big stack, and we make a light open here to $25. And we get not exactly what we wanted. We get 5 callers. So really looking to smash this flop, as if we do, it would be super disguised. So we're going 6 ways to a flop, which comes ace, 10, 4, 2 diamonds. So You know, we definitely have a decent bluff hand here. The small blind checks, and in this situation, I'm going to go ahead and bet $60. It's definitely a small bet, but if we get raised, I think we can definitely call and play some turns for this size. And because I have a lot of the drawing hands, I'm expecting to get called by a lot of aces and a lot of ace tens, or you know, maybe some tens with some draws, because I look like I have, you know, some big aces here. So we get 2 callers. The turn is an offsuit 5, so now we pick up even more equity by picking up a gutter with a 6. So, ooh, that sun is bright. Ooh, let's walk into the outfield. So the turn is the 5, and we are really gonna go for it here. We bet $200, and I like this play because we're really trying to like over-realize our equity here. We get 1 caller here to a river, and do you guys have any doubts on what this river is going to be? Of course not. We of course bink an offsuit 6 for the nut straight, and our hand is super disguised because the flush didn't come in and the straight draw, exactly what we have, looks super weird. We go all in for the rest of the hijack stack, and he thinks about it and he's tanking, and eventually he slides in the call. We table our hand and he mucks. I can only imagine he must have had something like ace 10 or some other possible 2 pair, thinking that, or really hoping that we have ace king, but we win an absolutely massive pot here, and we are just absolutely dominating this table.
Hand 3. Making a really big shift in tone, I share with you Vlog 11 Hand 1. After Vlog 7, we got permission to film at the table at the Daytona Beach Racing and Card Club, so all future hands and vlogs will have live table footage. I deem this hand to be important in the context of it was the hand that finally ended our downswing and restored some of my confidence in the game. Let's get it.
For our first very exciting hand of note, we look down at the Black Kings in the big blind. Now, we are facing 5 limpers, so definitely got to make it big here if we have any chance of doing anything meaningful with this hand and getting some players out. So, over 5 limpers, we raise it up to 55, which is certainly pretty big, but that doesn't deter anybody at this room. We get 2 callers. We're going 3 ways to a pretty decently sized flop, to a flop that comes Jack, Deuce, 5 with 2 clubs. Pretty awesome board for kings, all things considered. I mean, a jack high board is likely going to connect with hands like Queen Jack and Ace Jack. We're first to act, we bet about half pot here, about 80. In hindsight, don't really like this bet because it's just not big enough into 2 people, and it leaves the stack to pot ratio pretty awkward for the river. But we get 1 fold and 1 call, so we're going heads up to a turn, which is an okay-ish card, is the Queen of Hearts. You know, the couple combos of Queen Jack now beat us, but it's just now that I look over to see who we're actually up against, and I know this player, and they are known to chase down flush draws to the end of time. So an overbet jam here kind of makes sense, and just kind of taking a deep breath, hoping they don't have the couple combos of Queen Jack, we put the rest of our stack in the middle for a slightly overbet jam, and after a little bit of deliberation, the player makes the call. So we're going heads up to a final card, which is an absolutely beautiful card that you love to see. It's an offsuit deuce, so now we're actually ahead of Queen Jack. We show our kings, and the opponent mucks. But they actually said that we were good without the deuce, so they didn't have Queen Jack, and we're probably chasing that flush draw. Feels good to get the double up really early in the session, and hopefully we can get out of this downswing.
Hand 4. For this bizarre hand, we're looking at Vlog 13 Hand 10. We finally moved away from presenting the graphics through letters and symbols to actual card graphics, but more importantly, this specific hand riled up my comment section for the decision I made in this hand. It was my first real controversy on my channel. What would you have done?
All right, for the final hand we're going to talk about this session, we look down at 5-7 of clubs on the button, facing an early position raise from the player we just played in the previous 2 hands, who's out for revenge. He raises to 30, we decide to make the call, trying to play as many hands against this player as we can, although that might not be a good strategy, but who is to say? Folds back around, we're going heads up in position against the splashiest player at the table to a flop that comes 5-7 deuce. We flop 2 pair on a really dry, unconnected board, feeling absolutely amazing about our hand. Even better, that player continues for $40, and in this spot, I think that you should just be calling a lot of the time so that you can balance your calling with some of your draws and some of your weaker hands.
But in this specific situation, I've got a good hand, and I know that this player is going to stack off with a lot of marginal hands, so I want to get the money in and build a bigger pot. I raised to 130. My analysis of the situation was correct, that he will stack off marginally, and he makes the call. Heads up to a turn, which comes a jack. Doesn't really change the board much, although I guess we lose to jacks and jack 7 now, but I don't really expect him to have that too often. Maybe jacks, but I mean, that'd be a pretty sick cooler, right? He thinks for a little bit and then checks, and we continue firing, and we bet 125 or 150. I don't remember. One of the two. I'll put it in the video. We bet 150. Our opponent thinks for a little bit and then ends up calling. So we're going heads up into a final card, which is an okay card. It's an offsuit 6. There's no flush on the board, but I guess 3-4 makes a straight. And our opponent does something very interesting. They donk jam their entire stack of 678 right into us. And in this situation, I really have no idea what to do. I mean, when you're faced with a situation of someone making a 135 big blind bet into you after you've shown aggression the whole hand on a really disconnected river that should, on a whole board that should favor your range, I think that it's just so strong. I don't know if we can call here with 2 pair. I mean, like, what's he representing? What, you know, to beat our this, you know, I'm just babbling. I feel like this is so strong. Eventually, I reluctantly let it go, and I fold. So, not sure what to do. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Hand 5. Buckle up is what I said for this one, and I meant it. This hand was so influential in my career, as I believe it's the biggest cash pot I've ever won. Also, the graphics changed again, and my face keeps shrinking. But above all that, I finally put the previously mentioned controversy to rest by making a big call with 2 pair. Let's check it out. Alrighty, buckle up. We've got an absolutely monstrous hand incoming. We've got a similar hand to this hand we had in the last hand, but a little downgraded. We've got King, Queen of clubs in the small blind facing a button straddle. Now in this situation, we decide to open it up to 45. We get 3 callers, and they consist of NASCAR Man, the player to his left, and the button straddler. We're going 4 ways to a flop, out of position, that comes an absolute dream. It comes Queen 7-4 with 2 clubs. We've got top pair, a decent kicker, and the second nut flush draw. In this situation, we c-bet $100. Now, to our surprise, to make the matter even more interesting, NASCAR Man clicks it back to $200. The rest of the players get out of the way, and this is where things get really interesting. The stack sizes are really, really weird. We both are playing about 1K deep when the hand started, so when he bets 200, I've got about 950 total, counting the 100 I've already got, and the stack sizes are really, really weird. Raising to about 500 doesn't really make a lot of sense, as we'd only have about 450 behind. Ripping it all in for 950 doesn't really make a lot of sense, because that would let him get away from a bunch of his weaker hands. In this situation, I think he's going to have a lot more bluffs than not. Because we have King, Queen of clubs, we don't block the ace high club draw, so he could still have that. He could have 5-6 for an open ender, or he could even be overplaying a worse queen. I decide, because he can have so many more bluffs, we just decide to flat call and set the trap. We make the call, so we're going heads up to the 4th card, which comes an offsuit 10. Doesn't really change the board at all. I guess if he was overplaying Queen 10, he got there, but I really find that unlikely. He should never have pocket 10s, so it really doesn't change the board. We check to our opponent, and he in this situation bets 175. I think in hindsight, this should always be a raise, as the stack to pot ratios are a lot closer now for a jam, and we want to get the money in because we can't risk this hand going check-check on the river. Nonetheless, my past self got a little trigger shy, and I can't condone his actions, and he just decided to flat call. Not really proud of it, but that's what I decided to do. We're going heads up to a final card, kind of hoping to improve, even though I still think we have the best hand, but our hand gets even better. Comes an offsuit king. We've got top 2 pair. We check to our opponent, who does not disappoint. He bets $500. Now, at the time, I thought that was a really big bet, but in hindsight, it's only about half pot. I mull it over for a little bit and decide on this. The only real draw that could have got there on this river is specifically ace-jack of clubs that had the nut flush draw and just runner Broadway. He can still have a lot of draws that are just pure bluffing. He can have some top pairs he's overplaying, and if he just has a set, he's got us. So I'm just kidding. The real conclusion here is that I can't get berated by my comment section again for folding 2 pair in another massive spot. So we decide to make the call. We ask our opponent if he has a set, and he says no. We turn over our cards, and top 2 pair is good. He throws his cards into the muck, and we scoop an absolutely massive pot.
Our opponent said that he actually had 4-7 for flopped bottom 2 pair. Really didn't think we were behind on that flop if our opponent didn't have a set. Nonetheless, we scoop an absolutely gargantuan pot and we're moving strong into the session. Hand 6. The final hand is actually a tie between Vlog 16 Hand 1 and Vlog 17 Hand 7, and we're going to bring it full circle and talk about another hand with aces. I'm just going to show the latter, as they're effectively the same hand, where we get it in pre-flop with aces, run 2 boards, and chop. Both of these videos, though, brought rise to another controversy on my channel regarding running 2 boards, which I actually just addressed in a video I posted last week, link in the description. Without further ado, I present to you my final hand of note. For the final exciting hand we're going to talk about, we're blessed to find ourselves with the Rockets, the Bullets, the Angels, the Pocket Aces under the gun, and we make it 30. The button comes along, and the small blind books himself a one-way trip to Paintown and 3 bets to 100. The big blind decides to hop on the train, but he's going to need a Groupon for this ride as we've raised our prices and we 4-bet to 300. Button gets out of the way, and we get some amazing footage of the small blind gracefully pushing all of their chips over the line for a 5-bet to 1,000. Big blind folds, and we of course call. It's a cooler, it's a sick one. The small blind turns over pocket kings for the classic pocket aces versus pocket kings cooler. The small blind is a really cool guy and doesn't seem too upset by the situation, and we agree to run 2 full boards.
We're doing 2 full boards.
2 full boards, yeah.
It's a good board for today. Oh wow, again. Wow.
We've got 9 cards showing, 1 card to go.
Chop outs.
And he hits a king on the final card to chop the pot.
Oh goodness.
I know it's advantageous when you're really ahead to only run 1 board, but I think it's good for the game, fun for myself, and fun for the vlog to see more cards. If you made it this far into the video, once again, thank you. Thank you so incredibly much. None of this could have been possible without your support. This accomplishment belongs to both of us. For a brief look into the future, I've got a lot of really cool things coming up. First big announcement, I'm going to be posting twice a week now. They're not going to be 2 vlogs a week. That's going to be a lot for me. Still only 1 vlog per week on Sunday morning, but I'm going to be posting another video of whatever I choose. Like last week, it was the video about running it twice. This week, it's this video. And in the future, it's going to be other random videos I feel like posting. And that's usually probably going to happen on Wednesdays. Here's a sneak peek of some of those videos. Let's hold. No deuce, no 8. Are you kidding me?
So I know his range is mad wide and he has a lot of bluffs.
There it goes in. That's a fantastic call, my friend. This is so cool.
Once again, I can't thank you enough. Cheers to this victory and many more. As always, keep your body healthy, keep your mind healthy. This is Runner Poker. Have a good one.